The room falls silent as 80-year-old George Foreman adjusts his glasses, his massive hands now wrinkled with age but still commanding respect. The interviewer leans forward, microphone extended, as Foreman's eyes drift momentarily to the window of his Houston home where a photograph of the rumble in the jungle sits prominently on the mantel, a constant reminder of that fateful night in Kinshasa, October 30th, 1974. "I received a call last month," Foreman says, his voice lower than usual. "It was from Dr. Ferdy Pacheco's son. Said his father left something for me before he died. Something about Ali's gloves that night." The interviewer's eyes widen, and Foreman nods slowly, the weight of 5 decades of speculation visible in the creases of his face. "I always knew something wasn't right. Now I have proof." The boxing world erupts in shock as the interview clip goes viral. Headlines flash across screens worldwide. Foreman claims new evidence of tampering in historic Ali fight. Sports commentators debate furiously, boxing historians scramble to verify facts, and the Ali estate issues immediate denials. Meanwhile, a mysterious package remains unopened on Foreman's desk, allegedly containing the truth that could rewrite boxing history forever. 3,000 miles away in Philadelphia, 28-year-old Marcus Johnson, grandson of Ali's former cornerman Drew Bundini Brown, watches the interview with growing horror. As a boxing historian who spent years defending his grandfather's legacy and Ali's reputation, he knows this accusation could destroy everything. Within hours, he books a flight to Houston, determined to confront Foreman before that package is opened. What Marcus doesn't know is that powerful people with financial stakes in both fighters' legacies are already mobilizing, and they'll stop at nothing to control whatever truth lies within that envelope. The race to uncover what was really in Ali's gloves that night has begun. But the answer might not be what anyone expects. "You're not getting past this door," the security guard says, arms crossed over his chest, blocking Marcus from entering Foreman's sprawling ranch. The Houston sun beats down mercilessly as Marcus wipes sweat from his brow. "Please, just tell Mr. Foreman that Bundini Brown's grandson is here. 5 minutes is all I need." Marcus clutches his grandfather's worn boxing journal, the one thing that might contain information to counter whatever allegations are about to surface. The guard reaches for his radio when a black SUV with tinted windows pulls up the driveway. A woman in her 50s steps out, immaculately dressed in a tailored suit, her expression severe. "Angela Carter," she says, not offering her hand. "Foreman Sports Management. And you are?" "Marcus Johnson. My grandfather was Bundini Brown." "Yes, I know exactly who you are, Mr. Johnson, and I know why you're here." She studies him, calculating. "Perhaps it's better if you come inside after all. George has been expecting someone from the Ali camp to show up." Marcus follows her through the massive doors, past walls adorned with boxing memorabilia and into a sun-filled study where George Foreman sits in a leather chair, the infamous unopened package on the desk beside him. "The boy looks just like Bundini around the eyes, doesn't he?" Foreman says, his voice warmer than Marcus expected. "Your grandfather was a good man, a loyal man. That's why I'm here, sir. My grandfather kept detailed journals. If there was any tampering with the gloves, he would have known, and he would have written it down." Foreman's expression darkens. "Son, I fought 76 professional fights, lost only 5. But that night in Zaire haunts me, because something wasn't right. I hit Ali with punches that would have dropped a rhino. He just smiled at me, tapped me on the shoulder when I'd miss and whispered things. Psychological warfare," Marcus counters. "Ali's famous rope-a-dope strategy. It's documented." "No." Foreman shakes his head firmly. "There was more to it. Dr. Pacheco knew, and now his son says he left evidence." The tension is broken by Foreman's phone ringing. Angela answers it, her expression shifting as she listens. "They're here," she says after hanging up. "Who's here?" Marcus asks, suddenly uneasy. "HBO documentary crew," Foreman explains. "They're filming the opening of the package tomorrow. Live special event." Marcus feels his stomach drop. "You're making this a media spectacle?" "Sir, with all due respect, if there's evidence of something improper, shouldn't it be verified privately first? My grandfather's reputation, Ali's legacy, worth millions in endorsements and film rights." Angela interjects coldly, "which is precisely why this needs to be handled publicly. Transparency." A commotion outside draws their attention. Through the window, Marcus spots camera crews setting up, along with a familiar figure stepping out of a limousine. Jackson Reed, notorious sports memorabilia dealer known for authenticating controversial items. You brought in Reed? Marcus asks incredulously. He's been involved in 3 authentication scandals in the past decade. Foreman looks genuinely surprised. I didn't invite him. Both men turn to Angela, who merely shrugs. Additional expert opinion never hurts, she says smoothly. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to prepare George for his preliminary interview. As they leave, Marcus sinks into a chair, mind racing. He pulls out his phone and dials his mother, Bundini's daughter. Mom, I'm at Foreman's place. It's worse than we thought. They're turning this into a media circus and they've brought in Jackson Reed. Reed? His mother's voice tightens. Marcus, listen carefully. Your grandfather had a safety deposit box. I never opened it. Respected his privacy. The key is in the false bottom of his old cigar box. Whatever Foreman has, we need our own evidence. I'm in Houston. The box is in Philly. Your cousin Darius is already on his way to get it. He'll be on the next flight to you. Stall them until tomorrow night. Marcus hangs up, his heart pounding. Across the room, the sealed package from Dr. Pacheco sits on Foreman's desk. The temptation to open it now, before the cameras arrive, before Reed can spin the narrative, is overwhelming. He glances around, then moves quickly toward the desk, only to freeze as the door opens again. But it's not Angela or Foreman who enters. It's a slight, elderly man with a cane, his dark skin wrinkled with age. You must be Bundini's boy, the man says in a thick Congolese accent. I am Joseph Mbuto. I was Ali's translator in Kinshasa. He closes the door behind him. And I know what was really in those gloves. The Joseph Mbuto's eyes hold 50 years of secrets as he lowers himself carefully into a chair opposite Marcus. Outside, the documentary crew continues setting up equipment, unaware of the conversation taking place. How did you get in here? Marcus asks, keeping his voice low. The old man smiles. George and I have history. His security knows me. He taps his cane against the floor. But Miss Carter does not, and I would prefer to keep it that way. Marcus studies him skeptically. If you were really there, you would know my grandfather's famous phrase for Ali. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, Joseph replies without hesitation. But the personal one, the one he whispered before each round. Rumble, young man, rumble. He leans forward. I stood in that corner. I heard everything. Marcus sits back, convinced but cautious. So what do you know about the gloves? First, tell me why this matters so much to you, young man. Ali is gone. Bundini is gone. Even Dr. Pacheco is gone. Why fight so hard for ghosts? Marcus hesitates, then reaches for his wallet, removing a worn photograph. Himself at 8 years old sitting on Muhammad Ali's lap. His grandfather Bundini standing proudly behind them. My grandfather took me to meet Ali when I was a kid. Ali had Parkinson's by then, but he still had that magic. He told me, your granddaddy was the heart behind my fists. Then he looked me right in the eyes and said, truth is the only punch that never misses. I've built my career as a boxing historian on that principle. Joseph nods slowly. Ali would appreciate that. He glances toward the package on the desk. What they're doing with this? It's business, not truth. So what is the truth? Before Joseph can answer, the door opens and Angela Carter returns, her expression hardening at the sight of the old man. Mr. Mbuto, I wasn't aware you were invited. George and I go back many years, Miss Carter. I stopped by to pay my respects. How convenient that you arrived just as we're about to reveal new information about the fight. Her smile doesn't reach her eyes. Perhaps you'd like to be part of tomorrow's documentary. Your perspective would be valuable. Joseph rises slowly. Perhaps. For now, I was just leaving. He gives Marcus a meaningful look. The Intercontinental Hotel, room 427. Tonight. After he leaves, Angela turns to Marcus. I've arranged a guest room for you. George insists you stay. Says Bundini's family deserves to be present when the package is opened. She pauses. Though I should warn you, once the contents are revealed, there's no putting the genie back in the bottle. The Ali legacy you're so desperate to protect might not survive what comes next. Is that a threat? Just business reality. The boxing world loves its heroes, but it pays better for scandals. She checks her watch. Dinner is at 7. George expects you there. Alone again, Marcus's phone buzzes with a text from his cousin. Got the box, flight lands 11 p.m. Marcus stares at the mysterious package still sitting on Foreman's desk. Whatever is inside, he has until tomorrow to prepare a counter-strategy. His gaze shifts to the window where he can see Joseph Mbuto being escorted to his car. The old man glances back at the house, his expression unreadable. In the distance, thunder rumbles across the Texas sky. A storm is coming. At dinner, the tension is palpable despite Foreman's attempts at hospitality. The former champion shares stories of his life after boxing, his ministry, his children, his famous grill, but carefully avoids any mention of Ali or the package. You know, Foreman says as dessert is served, your grandfather once tried to give me advice between rounds. My trainer chased him away, but I often wondered what he was going to say. Probably telling you to quit while you still had your pretty face, Marcus replies with a small smile. Foreman laughs. A genuine booming sound. Bundini always did have more courage than sense. His expression turns serious. I respected Ali. Always did. Even after that night. Whatever we find tomorrow won't change that. Then why do this? Why not just let sleeping dogs lie? Foreman is quiet for a long moment. Because something happened in that ring that defied everything I knew about boxing. I hit that man with everything I had. If there was something in those gloves, some advantage I didn't know about, don't I deserve to know the truth before I die? The vulnerability in the old champion's voice catches Marcus off guard. For the first time, he sees this not as an attack on Ali's legacy, but as an old warrior's need for closure. My grandfather believed in Ali more than he believed in himself, Marcus says finally. If there was anything improper, anything at all, it would have broken him. Foreman nods slowly. That's why I wanted you here, son. Because whatever truth comes out tomorrow, we both need to hear it. Later that night, Marcus slips out of the guest room and drives a rental car to the Intercontinental Hotel. Joseph Mbuto answers his door on the first knock, ushering him in quickly. We don't have much time, the old man says, closing the curtains. They've been watching me since I left Foreman's. Who's watching you? Carter's people. The documentary producers. Maybe others. He moves to a small safe in the closet, opening it to remove an aged leather pouch. When Ali came to Zaire, he brought more than just boxing gloves. He brought hope to my country. A black man who called himself the greatest when the world tried to make him less. He unwraps the pouch to reveal what appears to be dried herbs and small wooden carvings. What is this? The night before the fight, Ali couldn't sleep. He was nervous, more than anyone knew. The odds were against him. Foreman was younger, stronger, had knocked out everyone he'd faced. Joseph carefully touches the dried herbs. Ali's team brought him to a local healer, a wise woman respected in Kinshasa. She gave him these herbs to brew as tea for calmness and clarity. And these carvings, fertility symbols of our ancestors, for strength. Marcus stares at the items. Are you saying Ali used some kind of traditional medicine? I'm saying Ali respected African traditions. He drank the tea. He carried one carving in his robe pocket. Joseph looks up, his eyes intense. But nothing was in his gloves except his hands wrapped according to boxing commission rules. I was there. I saw the wrapping. I saw the glove inspection. Then what's in Pacheco's package? Dr. Pacheco examined Ali after the fight, found severe bruising on his arms, defensive wounds from blocking Foreman's punches. Joseph shakes his head. That's the miracle no one understood. Not drugs, not loaded gloves. Ali took that punishment and kept standing. What was in his gloves? Nothing but courage and calculation. A sharp knock at the door makes them both freeze. Mr. Mbuto, it's Angela Carter. I think it's time we had a private conversation about tomorrow's event. Joseph Mbuto moves with surprising speed for his age, gathering the herbs and carvings back into the leather pouch before thrusting it into Marcus's hands. Take this. Go through the connecting door to room 429. It's unlocked. My nephew is waiting there. His voice drops to a whisper. What's in Pacheco's package isn't what they think. It's... The knocking becomes pounding. Mr. Puto, open this door immediately or hotel security will. Joseph pushes Marcus toward the connecting door. Go now. Find Foreman alone. Show him these. Tell him about the healer. He will understand. What about you? The old man smiles sadly. I will delay them. Some fights are worth taking a few punches for. Marcus slips through the connecting door just as he hears the main door to Joseph's room open. Through the thin wall, he hears Angela Carter's voice, cold and controlled. Mr. Buto, I'm disappointed. I thought we had an arrangement. That was before I knew what you were planning, Joseph replies defiantly. Marcus wants to stay and listen, but a young man, presumably Joseph's nephew, urgently motions him toward the exit. They hurry down the service stairs and out through the hotel kitchen. "My uncle said you might need help," the young man says as they reach the parking lot. "I'm Thomas. I can take you somewhere safe." Marcus checks his phone. A missed call from his cousin Darius and a text. "Landed something weird in this box. Where should I meet you?" "I need to meet my cousin at the airport," Marcus tells Thomas. "Then we need to get back to Foreman's place without being seen." Thomas nods. "I know a way." At the airport, Darius is waiting anxiously by the baggage claim, clutching a small wooden box. The cousins embrace quickly. "This was in Bundini's safety deposit box," Darius explains once they're in Thomas's car, "along with this letter addressed to whoever needs the truth about the gloves." Marcus opens the envelope with trembling fingers, unfolding a handwritten letter in his grandfather's distinctive scrawl. "If you're reading this, someone's finally asking about Ali's gloves in Zaire. Truth is, there was something special in those gloves that night, but not what folks might think. No weights, no plaster, nothing illegal. The night before the fight, a local healer woman gave Ali a blessing, said the spirits of Africa would protect him if he showed proper respect. She gave him herbs for tea and 2 small wooden figures. Ali was spiritual that way, respected all faiths, all traditions. He drank the tea, and right before Dundee wrapped his hands, Ali asked me to rub a mixture of oils the healer had prepared onto his wraps. Nothing performance-enhancing, just olive oil, local herbs, and 1 drop of his own blood to seal his connection to Africa. Commission inspected everything, approved the wraps, watched the gloves go on, everything legal. But here's the real magic. What's in this box is what actually won that fight. Not herbs or oils or magic. Study it. Understand it. That's the real secret. Bundini. Marcus opens the wooden box. Inside is a single VHS tape labeled Ali Training Camp Zaire. Rope-a-dope strategy development. Eyes only. "We need to find a VCR," Marcus says urgently. Thomas speaks up. "My uncle has one at his house. It's not far." Meanwhile, back at Foreman's ranch, the former champion sits alone in his study, staring at Pacheco's package. Despite Angela's instructions not to open it until cameras were rolling tomorrow, something about the night's events has left him uneasy. After a moment's hesitation, he carefully breaks the seal and removes the contents. A folder containing medical notes, photographs of Ali's arms showing extensive bruising, and a letter from Dr. Pacheco himself. "George," the letter begins, "if you're reading this, I'm gone and someone has finally asked the right questions about that night in Kinshasa. As Ali's doctor, I documented everything. The enclosed photos show the defensive bruising on Ali's arms from absorbing your punches. Most men's arms would have broken. His didn't. For years, I ran tests trying to understand how he withstood that punishment. The truth isn't what anyone suspected. It wasn't his gloves that were special that night. It was his training. 3 months before the fight, Ali secretly worked with neurologists studying pain tolerance and muscle conditioning. He adapted ancient techniques from Filipino martial arts, conditioning his arms by repeatedly striking bamboo. The enclosed medical records show abnormal bone density in his forearms, denser than any boxer I'd ever examined. What was in Ali's gloves that night? Just hands that had been scientifically, methodically conditioned to absorb punishment that would have crippled anyone else. No cheating. Just innovation ahead of its time. I'm leaving this to you because you deserve to know it wasn't luck or trickery that beat you. It was science and determination. With respect, Dr. Ferdy Pacheco. Foreman sits back, a complex mixture of emotions crossing his face as 50 years of questions finally find answers. His phone rings. Angela Carter calling. He lets it go to voicemail, needing time to process what he's learned. Across town, Marcus, Darius, and Thomas huddle around an ancient television as the VHS tape plays. On screen, Ali works with his trainers in a private session. They're systematically developing the rope-a-dope strategy, with Ali practicing against sparring partners instructed to mimic Foreman's style. "Lay on the ropes," Ali instructs the camera. "Let him punch himself out. Cover up like this. Forearms vertical to catch the hooks. Absorb with the whole body, not just the arms. 3 rounds of his best punches, then he'll have nothing left." The tape shows Ali taking punishment in training, conditioning his body to absorb impact, studying footage of Foreman to identify patterns, practicing precise counter-punches designed to exploit specific openings. "This is it," Marcus whispers. "This is what was in Ali's gloves. Months of strategic planning, specialized training, and perfect execution. We need to get this to Foreman before tomorrow's circus begins, Darius says. Thomas nods. I know a back way into the ranch. If we go now, we might catch him alone. As they drive toward Foreman's property, rain begins to fall. Soft at first, then building to a thunderstorm that seems fitting for the night's revelations. None of them notice the black SUV following at a discreet distance. Lightning illuminates the sky as Thomas navigates the muddy back road leading to Foreman's ranch. The storm has intensified, sheets of rain reducing visibility to mere feet ahead of their headlights. There, Thomas points through the downpour. That gate leads to the service entrance. The security cameras don't cover it well in weather like this. They park among a cluster of trees and make their way to the gate, carrying Bundini's box and Joseph's leather pouch protected inside Marcus's jacket. The VHS tape is secure in a plastic bag, precious evidence they can't afford to lose to the rain. How do we get in? Darius asks, eyeing the tall fence. Thomas pulls out a set of keys. My uncle worked maintenance here for years after retiring as a translator. Emergency access. The gate swings open with a creak, nearly lost in the storm's fury. They hurry across the grounds toward the main house, staying close to the hedges for cover. Through the windows, they can see the documentary crew has set up equipment in the main living room. Technicians adjust lighting while a producer gestures animatedly, clearly rehearsing tomorrow's big reveal. We need to find another way in, Marcus whispers. Somewhere private where Foreman might be. The study has a separate entrance, Thomas says. This way. As they round the corner of the house, headlights suddenly illuminate them from behind. The black SUV that had been following them rolls to a stop, and Angela Carter steps out, umbrella in hand, 2 security guards flanking her. Mr. Johnson, what a surprise finding you trespassing on private property. Her voice carries easily despite the rain, and with contraband it seems. Marcus clutches the evidence tighter beneath his jacket. We need to see Foreman. Mr. Foreman is preparing for tomorrow's event. Whatever amateur evidence you've collected can wait until then. She nods to the security guards. Please escort these gentlemen off the property and relieve them of any items they're carrying. The guards advance, but before they reach Marcus and his companions, a booming voice cuts through the storm. Let them come. George Foreman stands in the doorway of his study, silhouetted against the warm light inside. The security guards hesitate, looking to Angela for direction. George, this isn't part of the plan, she says, irritation evident in her voice. Whatever they have can be incorporated into tomorrow's broadcast if it's legitimate. My house, my rules, Angela. Foreman's voice leaves no room for argument. The boys come inside, now. Minutes later, Marcus, Darius, and Thomas stand dripping in Foreman's study. Angela hovers by the door, clearly unhappy but unwilling to challenge the former champion in his own home. You opened the package, Marcus says, noticing the medical documents spread across Foreman's desk. Foreman nods. Couldn't wait. 50 years is long enough for answers. He studies Marcus intently. Now, what was so important you had to sneak onto my property in the middle of a thunderstorm? Marcus places Bundini's box and the leather pouch on the desk. 2 pieces of evidence about what was really in Ali's gloves that night. One from my grandfather, one from Joseph Mbuto. Joseph. Foreman's expression softens. How is the old troublemaker? In trouble, Thomas speaks up. Ms. Carter's people were at his hotel room. Foreman's gaze shifts to Angela, who shrugs unapologetically. Joseph has agreed to participate in tomorrow's documentary. His perspective will be included alongside others. Included or controlled? Marcus challenges. Gentlemen, Foreman interrupts. Let's focus on what you've brought me. Marcus explains the contents of both items. Joseph's account of the African healer, Bundini's letter about the blessed oils, and most importantly, the VHS tape showing Ali's specialized training for the rope-a-dope strategy. May I? Foreman gestures to the VHS tape. We'd need a player, Darius says. Foreman chuckles. Son, I'm 75 years old. I still have a VCR in my entertainment room. As they move to watch the tape, Angela steps forward. George, as your business manager, I strongly advise against viewing unofficial evidence before tomorrow's broadcast. We have contracts, exclusivity agreements. Angela, Foreman cuts her off, his voice gentle but firm. Sometimes there are things more important than contracts. He turns to Marcus. I read Pacheco's letter. He mentioned neurologists, specialized training. If your tape shows what I think it does, it explains everything, Marcus confirms. No cheating, just revolutionary training and strategy. Angela's phone buzzes. She checks it, then smiles thinly. It seems our documentary producer has arrived early. He's at the front door now. Before anyone can respond, the study door opens and Jackson Reed walks in, followed by a sharp-dressed man Marcus recognizes as Victor Patel, executive producer for HBO Sports. "George, there you are," Patel says expansively. "Thought we'd get a head start on tomorrow, and I see we have unexpected guests?" Reed's eyes narrow as he spots the items on Foreman's desk. "What's this? Additional evidence?" He moves closer. Professional interest evident. "As the authentication expert for tomorrow's broadcast, I should examine these immediately." "Back off," Marcus says, stepping between Reed and the desk. "These items aren't for your show." "Actually," Angela interjects smoothly, "any evidence pertaining to the Ali Foreman fight falls under our exclusivity agreement with HBO. Paragraph 12, subsection B." Patel nods. She's right. If it relates to what was in Ali's gloves, it's part of our documentary. The tension in the room builds as Marcus looks to Foreman, hoping the former champion will intervene. Instead, Foreman seems deep in thought, his eyes moving between Pacheco's medical records and Bundini's box. "You know what's funny?" Foreman finally says, his voice cutting through the argument. 50 years I've wondered about those gloves. Thought maybe there was something illegal, weights, horsehair, something. Now I find out it was just a man who trained harder, planned better, and wanted it more." He looks up, meeting Marcus's eyes. "That's a better story than any scandal, isn't it?" "George," Patel begins cautiously, "the viewers are expecting a revelation about tampering. The promos have already aired. Then they'll get a different kind of revelation." Foreman stands, his imposing figure commanding the room's attention. The truth about what was really in those gloves. Heart, science, and strategy. Angela steps forward. "This changes everything about tomorrow's broadcast. The narrative, the experts we've lined up, the memorabilia auction afterward." "Auction?" Marcus interrupts. "What auction?" Reed clears his throat. "After revealing the tampering evidence, we plan to auction several items from the fight, including a pair of gloves allegedly worn by Ali during training in Zaire. With the scandal, their value would have been significant." The pieces suddenly click for Marcus. That's what this was about all along? Creating a scandal to drive up auction prices? "It's business," Angela says without apology. "Boxing memorabilia is worth millions. Controversial items even more." Foreman's laugh startles everyone. 50 years of wondering, and it comes down to money. He shakes his head, then turns to the producer. "Victor, tomorrow's show will go on, but with a different story. The real story. About innovation, not cheating. About a fighter who revolutionized training to overcome a stronger opponent." "But," Angela begins. "No buts, Angela. My house, my name, my fight." Foreman's tone brooks no argument. "We're telling the truth tomorrow, all of it. Joseph's part, Bundini's part, Pacheco's part." He points to the VHS tape. "And we're showing this, Ali's real secret weapon." Marcus feels a weight lift from his shoulders. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet," Foreman replies. "Your grandfather and Ali pulled off maybe the greatest strategic masterpiece in boxing history. That's worth celebrating, not burying." He extends his hand to Marcus. "Think you can help me tell that story tomorrow?" As Marcus shakes the former champion's hand, thunder rumbles outside, no longer threatening, but somehow triumphant. The next morning, under clear Texas skies, the HBO cameras roll. George Foreman sits in his study with Marcus beside him, both men surrounded by the evidence they've gathered. Pacheco's medical records, Bundini's letter, Joseph's artifacts, and most importantly the training footage showing Ali's revolutionary preparation. Joseph Mbuto has joined them, free from Angela's influence after Foreman personally intervened. The old translator smiles as the true story unfolds on camera. Not a tale of scandal, but one of innovation and respect. "What was really in Ali's gloves that night in Kinshasa?" Foreman says to the camera. "Nothing illegal, nothing mysterious. Just the hands of a man who'd trained his body and mind to absorb punishment that would have broken anyone else. A man who respected African traditions while revolutionizing boxing strategy. A man who beat me fair and square with science and heart." The auction still happens, but with a different energy, celebrating Ali's innovative training rather than manufacturing controversy. The training gloves sell for a record price not because of scandal, but because they represent a pivotal moment in sports science history. After the cameras stop rolling, Foreman and Marcus stand alone in the study. "Your grandfather would be proud," Foreman says. "Standing up for the truth like that." "So would Ali," Marcus replies. "He always said truth is the only punch that never misses." Foreman laughs. "Sounds like him." He pauses, growing serious. "You know, losing to Ali that night was the best thing that ever happened to me. Made me reassess everything. Led me to my faith, my family, my second career. No regrets? About losing? None." Foreman smiles. "About wondering for 50 years what was in those gloves? Maybe a few. But now I know." He extends his hand again. Truth hits harder than either of us ever could. As Marcus shakes the champion's hand, he feels the connection between past and present, between rivals who became respectful adversaries, between two legacies now permanently intertwined. In the end, what was really in Ali's gloves that night? Just hands, but hands backed by revolutionary training, strategic genius, and the heart of a true champion. And that truth, finally revealed, proves more powerful than any scandal could ever be.